You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big guns creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands, but I'm the Sherpa guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Leftist judges twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from North Idaho in an actual free state. I am this guy. I am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal, reminding you, of course, that what you're about to hear for roughly the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and my opinion only. I am doing the job the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. And thusly, we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks here in the saloon, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, clarity, context, tradition, and common sense for normal people. And so politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law, we talk about it all right here at this in the saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. I am streaming right now on a whole host of different places like this: Rumble, X, Twitch, KLRN, Facebook, and of course the SHR Media YouTube channel. This is going to be kind of an interesting night in terms of, well, I haven't done this before. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room has returned. And if you wish to jump in there, you can do so only by going to the SHR Media YouTube channel. That's the only place where the folks who wish to chat go in there. Also, this is a special night because this is the first night that KLRN has been gracious enough to say, hey, BZ Fat Guy, we're going to put you on live tonight, because customarily on Tuesday night, they carried another show live, and I'd be resizzled on Wednesday. And so no resizzle for Wednesday. I am instead here live on KLRN Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. Thanks so kindly to Rick Robinson. Let's see if I have him. Why people? Why tax the Rick? I don't know. I don't understand that. This is also going to be, let's see, a different kind of show, because this is also, let me see if I can find the spot here. This is the first time I've ever done this on YouTube. And customarily, I'm the first to admit, I hate portrait mode. I really do. I love landscape mode, and that's because I came from a photography background, a photography and a video background. And the most information that you can get is from a landscape mode. Generally, the accepted 16 by 9 instead of 9 by 16, which is just kind of weird, but I know why it happens, okay? I get it. I know. This is also a first night where I'm sure perhaps some personnel may be in the saloon. Maybe yes, maybe no. Hard to say. Tonight, though, is about President Trump 1 year in and what has happened with that. And I've got the SHR Media guys were invited. Maybe they show up, maybe they don't. That's okay. That's cool, because I have a big old hanging show already pre-planned for everybody. In terms of the Diggy Dogger, I should like to remind you that he's still around. This is him last night. If you put it on night mode, you can actually take... Oh, this is great. Apparently, the trolls are already here, and this is for you guys. I created just for the individuals that I suspected would be here. You know, I knew this would happen because these are the guys that are coming out. We're fighting for you and for fighting for leftists and idiots. Thank you for being here. So if you're going to be nice in the chat room. I appreciate it. Moving right along. Also, if you want to be invigorated and or really pissed off, I will. Problem with going vertical is it makes all the icons over on the right harder to see. But I will be later in just a moment doing the standard Mark I Model 1 carousel of amusing GURP. But I also want to put this up because I will be soliciting for your Greckles. And that is this. Here's the give, send, go to the ICE officer. If a Honda Pilot driver can get it, then certainly other people can get it as well. And I trust that thousands of you will be depositing coin into this account, because the sad thing about a lot of people that are recently watching the SHR, some of them are bots, and they're attracted to, like good content, like flies to honey. And in any event, no matter who you are, I'm going to say thank you for being here. Now, folks that know me at SHR are probably thinking about this time, thanking? Yeah, I did not see this coming. And it's true. I'm going to try to be the kinder, nicer, gentler BZ the first time around. And so you can expect, if you are not a standard Mark 1 Model 1 customer of the show, you can expect that I'm going to be very careful, very gentle, obviously with your mind in mind. So in terms of the carousel of amusing GURP, here's one to start with. Yeah, baby. And they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
The U.S. economy was much stronger than expected.
Okay.
He doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. $2.95 a gallon as of today? Clear. It's got an incompetent governor fool. I mean, he's a stupid person.
He comes in, does nothing but bitch. That's pretty much true. But don't think that I don't have more, because obviously I do, or I wouldn't be known as BZ. Here's another one. This guy, I don't know who he is, but he posts this stuff under Xerias, XERIAS_X. And like George Bush said to Ozzy Osbourne, Ozzy, my mom loves your stuff. See, they're even in tune. I think that's wonderful. Also, I think I may have another one, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I do. But this is not humorous. This happens to be one of the finest occasions that I've ever heard the national anthem sung. This was glorious.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of free and the home of
Holy crap, where did that guy get those pipes? That's absolutely astounding, and I have to agree, that's one of the finest renditions of the national anthem frankly, that I have ever seen. It's amazing. And now, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's time for this.
Leftists are dangerously insane. Courtesy of BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show and the SHR Media Network.
This comes to mind, and I wanted to play it a week ago or so, but this, it's like you can't write replies to this kind of shit. You have an alleged doctor in the house who's going to be speaking to Josh Hawley, who asks an incredibly simple question, and this doctor, Verma, cannot answer. Well, it's not that she can't answer, and it's not that she doesn't know the proper and correct answer, but she's more afraid of leftist excoriation than she is of virtue signaling, because truly, we know what's happening here. I know what's happening here, but she just can't come out and say it. So let's count the times, shall we? Yeah, it's like, this is a 2-hour show. I have the time to do it. And so let's go.
I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients.
Okay, avoidance one.
With different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities.
Many women.
And so that's where I paused. I think, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of
deflection number 2.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Absolutely.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care.
Test failed. Abject failure. Leftist moron. Allegedly a doctor. Continue.
Of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying.
Let me just answer the damn question. Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor.
I love hoisting leftists on the petard, the idiotic petard, the moronic petard of their own creation. Go.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool.
No, yes/no.
You are the political tool, my lovely Bint.
Questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. The United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives.
Well, it is a question that one SCOTUS jurist can't answer. Ketanji Jackson, because, she's not a doctor. Well, apparently the doctor isn't the doctor either.
And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that
an expert shill.
You follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science,
here we go.
Can men get pregnant?
9 times.
That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex.
It's not complex. Insert tab A into slot B, get product C. XX and XY. Move on.
What the hell is going on?
I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional.
Yeah,
and as
we're
a
not over yet.
Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with.
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question.
Biological males.
Nope.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men,
tranny dudes, can get pregnant? Just ask them.
get pregnant? Yes or no?
I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized.
Man, listen, piss me off, man. But these people are sick people. These are
Oh God, that's why. That's one of the major reasons that I went to and began the carousel of amusing GURP, because predominantly I like to start off the show on a positive, humorous side. And there's nothing more humorous than skewering leftists and Democrats and people that can't answer a simple question. It's a glorious kind of thing. So let me take this off. It's the standard, but wait, there's more. So let's play this. Now, you may have heard this before, but the glory of this show is the fact that I can make it go in whatever directionality I care at the time. And so if you would think that in 1 minute and 51 seconds, I might have comments about these two people. So after storming a church in Minnesota, Don Lemon, spell it correctly, Don, D-A-W-N, Lemon, L-E-M-A-W-N, says white Christians are entitled and engaged in white supremacy, and says he's been targeted because he's a gay black man. Number one, I don't give a fuck if you're gay. I don't give a fuck if you're black. I just care if you're stupid. It's not the type of Christianity that I practice, because Don, on his show, when he had a show on CNN before he was fired, was all about Christianity, wasn't he? He pounded that home every damn show. And so he wants to know, America, how did he become the face of all of this? And the producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America, and you have a platform, and you're the biggest name, of course. No, you're the biggest narcissist. Go play.
I think these MAGA men, they have like a hive mind. None of them are unique. None of them are...
Okay, stop. None of them are unique. Absolutely none of them are unique. Like these people, none of them are unique. They all look the same. All y'all look the same, but let's continue.
The alphas they think they are. They just all take their orders every day. What's Elon saying? What's Trump saying? And they have to bend and mold. And you are a prize for them, an independent, gay, black, happy, successful man. And
who lost a multi-million dollar job at CNN because no one was interested in watching his bullshit. And his numbers absolutely plummeted. His show just hemorrhaged watchers and advertisers.
This is an attempt to intimidate and beat you down.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that. And I didn't hear the first part, but I think that there is obviously there's racism in it. The whole point of it is that they're detaining people on the streets because of accents and the color of their skin.
Hello. That's called profiling. And here's what I would do. If France or Norway or the Netherlands or Finland were on our southern border, I can't think of more lily white nations than that, can you? I would be saying the same thing. Fuck you. You're not storming as an illegal invader into my country. You can get the hell out. Enter lawfully or don't enter at all. And if you don't enter lawfully, no matter your skin color, I want your ass rounded up and ejected.
And they're also targeting people of color and black people as well as brown people. So there is a certain degree of racism there. And there's a certain degree of entitlement.
Said the racist.
I think people who are,
if you watched his show, Don Lemon, like most Democrats, are some of the biggest racists and sexists and misogynists out there.
Religious groups like that. It's not the type of Christianity that I practice.
I doubt you practice, but move on.
But I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah.
I said the guy that has absolutely zero idea about history and how we got here. But that, you see, is part and parcel of, in fact, how we got here from ignorant people who don't know history, which is sad but expected. Now, as I said, and as I indicated, leftists are dangerously insane. Here's another, as I customarily want to say, because it's true. With regard to this show, there's so much going on, but you have to keep track of all of this stuff. I don't make anything up. I don't need to. All I need to do is bring the articles and the videos to you from the internet. And the American media maggots primarily do not want to source the correct information from the internet, and they don't want to show you, which is why I'm going to show you this. This will be the last little segment that I'll play before the bottom of the hour break. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being in the chat room. And if you would, please, I think I have not yet put this up. We have 786 subscribers today. We gained 50 subscribers just over the weekend. For us, this is great, and you're helping. And I thank you very much. See, even the people who don't like us are helping. So, yeah, this is so unlike me. How conciliatory can I possibly be? Let's put this up. This is from Ketanji Jackson, the DEI racist hire from the Biden administration, illustrating how such a moron she happens to be. So I'm going to make an historical notation. This is a Supreme Court oral argument regarding firearms in Hawaii. And so Justice Jackson ends up defending the racist black codes as precedent. And my guess is that probably none of you leftists know what the black codes were, because you are absolutely unfamiliar with history. What do I have? I got 1 minute left. I'm going to hang on to this. And so what I think I'm going to do is play a break. Time for you guys to go hit the electric winkle chamber, get a drink, and come back in a couple of minutes. I'm BZ. You're not. Aren't a lot of you thankful for that? I'd bet.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log. Intrigue. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey folks, I'm BZ. I'm back. Thank you very much for being here. Our sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room is wide open right now. In case you didn't know, it looks very similar to this. I have brought the white gorilla back. The albino gorilla chat room has just come back, and I spent a whole bunch of money to bring this thing back because people said, hey, why don't you bring the gorilla chat room? Why doesn't it return? In any event, we were talking about Ketanji Jackson, the jurist there, and she was making reference to black codes, and perhaps a lot of you were saying something similar to, I don't get it. What is this about? This is an oral argument in SCOTUS. This is Sarah Harris, the Deputy Solicitor General, speaking, because you don't video SCOTUS hearings. You can tape them. You can record them. So go.
Justice Jackson?
So I guess I really don't understand your response to Justice Gorsuch on the black codes. I mean, I thought the black codes were being offered here under the Bruin test to determine the constitutionality of this regulation. And it's because we have a test that asks us to look at the history and tradition. The fact that the black codes were at some later point determined themselves to be unconstitutional doesn't seem to me to be relevant to the assessment that Bruin is asking us to make. So can you say more about that?
Absolutely. Black codes were unconstitutional from the moment of their inception because they are pretextual laws that are designed to ensure that newly freed slaves are returned to a condition of sharecropping.
Okay, let me stop you there. They were not deemed unconstitutional at the time that they were enacted. They were part of the history and tradition of the country. And when we have a test now that's asking us to look at what people were doing back then.
Okay, let me stop right there. For the historically ignorant amongst you, those with historical Alzheimer's, and it goes something like this. So Ketanji Brown Jackson just defended the racially oppressive post-Civil War black codes. The funny thing is she never fails to disappoint, and here she has not failed to disappoint. Now, the case itself revolves around Hawaiian law that doesn't allow people public carry licenses to have their handguns on them when they're on private property that is open to the public, unless they have prior permission from that particular owner. Okay. Do you know what black codes are? Black codes were laws, folks, that happened to be enacted in the southern states after the Civil War in 1965, Louisiana, it stemmed from that law. And from the outset, their objective was to control and restrict the freedoms of what? Newly emancipated slaves. So these codes were designed historically to limit Black people's economic, their social, their political freedoms. And it involved, of course, forced labor contracts, because who didn't love a good slave? That's right. All the Democrats loved a good slave. So it's like, you are defending essentially the indefensible. So if you're Ketanji Brown Jackson, if you're for the support and use Black codes in reference to argue against Hawaii's law and say that Hawaiians shouldn't be able to do this, which is your point throughout all this, but if you love that, wait, wasn't the Confederacy a history of our country? Weren't Confederate flags? How about Confederate statues? Those were all wiped out, but you defend Black codes. And my only question for you at this point is, okay, how stupid are you?
I don't understand why they should be excluded.
Because they are outliers. They are by definition unconstitutional. They have always
Found
been
later,
unconstitutional.
afterwards, not at the time. And if the test says what's happening at the time tells us what's constitutional for this purpose, why aren't they in?
Respectfully, a law is always unconstitutional. When it's from its inception,
So the history doesn't matter. We shouldn't care about the history then.
We should deeply care about the history, but the whole point of the Bruin framework is
But it depends on whose history it is.
as follows. The history and tradition of the Second Amendment are particularly important because it is codifying a pre-existing right. To figure out in sort of common law fashion what the national history and tradition.
And there you go. I happen to have made my point. But it's so bizarre. It appears that, I don't know, Hawaii apparently relied to some extent on the Black codes to placing restrictions on public carry, right? So that's how it's applicable. Okay, that's just so weird. So then Neil Gorsuch, after this, happened to point out that the hypocrisy of the gun control side of the aisle in cynically trying to use a 19th century racist law that was struck down a ton of time ago, it's going to be used by Ketanji Brown Jackson as a means to restrict gun ownership in 2026. And that's where, of course, I have to say something similar to, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, I said, of course, did I not? Leftists are dangerously insane. Chicks like this, etc. And offals, white chicks. So let's put this up also, shall we? So this guy's a journalist and he's sitting in public transit. And then this is what happens. This guy is ever so more controlled than I would ever hope to be.
You talk shit about Islamic people, you talk shit about Black people, you talk shit about Mexicans, and you post it on the internet.
Come here. What am I? Oh, she doesn't want to be on camera now. Why not?
It's public.
Whoa. I'll record. All right. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? I mean, you're so big. What am I?
Are you still gonna film me?
Whoa. Hold up.
See, this is clearly endemic that leftists have no argument. They're clinically insane. And when you do not comport with their philosophies, then the result is to simply assault you, to utilize violence. I'm going to hit this a little bit later on in the show, but this is simply, reason number 539,225 as to why leftists are dangerously insane. And they keep proving it time and time again, day after day. All we have to do is look at Minnesota. The other thing that I should like to point out about leftists, particularly women, white chicks on the left are also themselves dangerously insane. Here's an article, and like I say, I don't make these things up. I don't have to make these things up. The bulk of white women, leftist white women, are crazy, and they're extremely unhappy. Nothing makes them happy. The only thing they like is a nice bent-over soy boy, and that's what they get, if they even deign to lower themselves to touch a man, per se, although soy boys on the left are not men. Here's an article. Over 50% of liberal white women under 30 have a mental health issue. And is this not, I ask, proven out day after day after day in the media, everywhere, on social media, on the American media maggots? It's absolutely true. Prove me wrong. And this is the point where, okay, we're going to go to this portion of the show. And it's 1 year in. President Trump has been succeeding on most every level than you can possibly conjure. And we're going to talk about that. And it will be wrapped around this in terms of happy stories.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
So this I found very amusing today. Trump had a press conference, and he actually speaks to people because he can actually speak, and he can actually conduct a press conference. And the White House handed today reporters a printout in the briefing win listing 365 wins from President Trump's first year back in office. And that's part and parcel of the primary point of this show. Let me see if I can embiggen this so that you can read it a little bit. Number 243, very interesting. Stripped notorious crackhead and grifter Hunter Biden of his taxpayer-funded Secret Service detail. Folks, as far as I'm concerned, that is a wonderful win. But it's been win after win. Also this is a happy story. It's been 1 year of great achievements.
People, vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people...
By the way, 5,000 illegal invaders have been removed just from Minnesota in the past week. Thank you, ICE. God bless ICE. Continue.
People don't know. Do you want to live with these people?
No.
International murder.
These are people in Minnesota do. They're our neighbors. They're our compatriots. We love killers and rapists because we're fucking mentally deranged.
People that are living they're apprehended and either put in jails in their country from where they came, or the countries respect us, and so they actually put them there. In the old days, they didn't respect our country. Biden wouldn't do this because he let them all in.
Biden let in, it's estimated, the low range is 11 million illegal invaders from various third world countries. It's probably closer to 20 million parasitic third worlders here. The true number, I think, is much closer to 30 million illegal invaders in this country. So everybody said, Biden, leftists, Democrats said, you can't do it. You can't remove them all. To which Trump said, essentially, hold my beer. Here, watch. And we've been watching. And it's been wonderful, hasn't it? Also, Breitbart put this up. I like Breitbart. I like to refer people to Breitbart because Google has essentially skewered them. and taken their results and moved them in the trash bin. You almost can't see Breitbart at all by way of Google. So I try to use Breitbart articles and get some motion towards them whenever I can. This article, 1 year of wins, Trump's top accomplishments in the first year of the golden age. Okay, well, let me go back just a little bit. Trump 45. The biggest thing that I liked about Trump 45 was the fact that he wasn't Hillary Clinton. He kicked her ass and he won. That's the first thing. So the second one was, I believed that President Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, would appoint much better jurists to SCOTUS and would push them through. Correct on both points. I'm going to give myself a little win. And, you know, as far as I was concerned, anything above and beyond that was gravy. And in 45, we got a lot of gravy, and we got a lot of obfuscation, a lot of corruption. We got a lot of fake news. We got a lot of crap. And that stymied President Trump from doing what he really needed to do. You know, we know that the 2020 election was skewered. It was fraud. But the cool thing is, I believe, that it yielded a Donald Trump 47 who during that period of time assembled various staffs and made decisions in preparation for 2024 and 2025. And it's so, you know, it's like January 20th, 2025, and today, January 20th, 2026, the year of our Lord 2026. That's what the show is about. 1 year in. And the wins that have occurred, which have been absolutely great. And he says, never surrender. And he says, fight, fight, fight. Because, you know, and here's where you people in chat, you know, talk calmly amongst yourselves. He was about a quarter of an inch away from being assassinated in July in Butler, Pennsylvania. And a lot of people were very sad about that, very sad. And he's still here. Isn't that wonderful? But the biggest thing that I think Trump did just in 1 year, the first few months, was he stopped the flood of illegal invaders. And everybody said, no, you can't do that. But before in the Biden administration, Biden and Mayorkas both said, oh, we can't stop it. It's impossible. It cannot be done. Well, they lied. So if President Trump could do it in the first few months, then that means what Biden, the auto pen regime, and Mayorkas said were, wait a minute, if only I had a producer. What they said were what? Lies. Lies. All lies. More lies. So he closed the border. There were points on the border at which no one got in. And if that isn't a happy story for this nation in and of itself, I simply don't know what was. So tariffs on many fronts, trade deals, most favored nation deals, investments. Trump puts the number at $18 trillion in investment in just 1 year, while the White House lists $9.6 trillion in investments on its website, with some of the most consequential commitments being, and then later on in the show, if you want to see the article to make sure that, oh, BZ's not lying, that I actually have the evidence to show this, go to the SHR Media channel on Rumble and then look for BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And you can go and see all the show links there, and you can read them at your leisure, which is the primary reason that I do that, so that I don't have to go into super depth with a lot of these articles. You can just read it in and of yourself. And here's another one that comes directly from the White House. 365 wins in 365 days. remarkable things. And let's just look at a few. Number one, achieved negative net migration in 2025, reversing a 50-year trend and restoring U.S. control over immigration flows for the first time in a generation. Another happy story, removed more than 2.6 million illegal invaders from the United States through deportations and voluntary self-departures. The smart ones deported themselves. So, as far as I am concerned, and a lot of people are concerned, that's a win. And that's a great deal of what we got in 2025 for what I would consider to be a fabulous year for President Trump. Now, I said we had the carousel of amusing GURP, and part and parcel of that was here's a proposal for what we do with, this is an initial proposal of what we do with the United States. And the left coast can stay there, but you know what? Logical, sensible people will annex Alberta and Minnesota. I'm sure leftists and Democrats would love this. You can go to Canada and you can be a Canuck while you're there. Not a mechanic, which is probably what the bulk of you think, but no, a Canuck there. Isn't that a wonderful thing? It is. Here's another inconvenient fact that I'm splaying for you right here. Trans women, because we talked about this, are at a much higher risk from prostate cancer than AR-15 violence. You know what? I have to agree with that. And then under the umbrella of the carousel of amusing GURP, I also refer to this. So NASA is saying that the crew member who was ill and returned to Earth is doing well now and having a meal with colleagues. And let's not forget this. Now, we talked about Minnesota. There's Minnesota down there in the pinkish going up to Canada. And here is the official bird, the screaming lesbian, which is embraced and loved by everyone in Minnesota. Like this loving individual. They're all loving individuals. Now, we talked about Don Lemon, right? And so, you know, you can't say that this didn't make a few, which was wonderful and glorious. So federally charging a black man, a black gay man with the KKK Act on MLK Day. You know, I got to tell you, it just doesn't get more fun than that. It truly doesn't. But folks, don't think that BZ doesn't skewer just leftists. It's because you're predominantly so easy. But I also had to share this because J.D. Vance just indicated and released the ultrasound of his fourth child. And I got to say, that's a wonderful thing. Let's continue with the show. What do we got? We have about 6 more minutes before the top of the hour break, which I am going to be taking all these days. Here's part and parcel of happy stories, because everyone knows that blacks are in line and they absolutely despise President Trump and what's going on, right?
The Democratic Party, they promote black women, particularly if she's a lesbian. Yes. They promote black women who are not even qualified. We have seen with the diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is really racism, which is really saying, well, black people just aren't, they're not smart enough, so we have to give them handouts. And you're pushing black women who are not qualified. Dr. Claudine Gay of Harvard.
Hey, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Right?
Now the head of diversity at Harvard is also accused, if I have it correctly, of plagiarism. And we'll get to Fannie Willis, who was elected as a DA in Fulton County.
And that's the correct pronunciation. Kudos to this chick.
Georgia, primarily because she's black, in my opinion. And we've seen case after case. But the black man, where is he? That's done deliberately. And it started really in the 60s where the Democrats pushed policy, right, that said to women, particularly Black women, you don't need a man in the home. We'll give you more money.
Sure, we'll pay you off and buy you. And they paid Black women off and they bought you.
If you're single. They're promoting Black women and want Black men to be down here. And I think Black men sense that. And they know that Trump relates to them. They relate to Trump very well. Barack Obama was a plant. He did nothing for the Black community. Did he ever come back to Chicago with as much crime? He didn't care. That gave rise to Trump because Trump actually listened to us.
Stop right there. This is an excellent comparison with regard to Chicago. One of the biggest racists in the nation is Mayor King racist Brandon Johnson, who clearly favors illegal invaders over the people that he supports allegedly in the city of Chicago. He supports illegal invaders over Blacks. And this conundrum befuddles me. How can people keep voting for morons like this who hate you? Hate you, meaning Blacks in Chicago. He couldn't care less how many bleeding bodies he has to lay in the gutters of Chicago in order to embrace the new cadre of individuals that will continue to vote for him, because sadly, American Blacks are turning out to be not quite so loyal and trustworthy as they used to. Truism. But what this chick says is, in fact, a happy story, and it's happening all around. And so this is a happy story. 2 more minutes. I can do this in 2 more minutes. In the Minnesota protests, you know what gets affected throughout all of this? If the people from the third world and the illegal invaders and the Somali fraudsters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if they stay, you know what Minnesota gets? Additional congressional seats. And that's what this is all about. Power control. They don't care about you. They care about power, and they care about the additional seats in the state of Minnesota.
DHS announced tonight that they have arrested a total of some 3,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota, including over the weekend, several convicted of crimes such as homicide and sexual assault. Meantime,
because why wouldn't you want to keep these people in Minnesota? They're your neighbors, they're your friends, they're your community, right?
Several dozen protesters remain here at the federal building, protesting the actions of federal agents, but they are staying behind the newly erected barriers put here by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. It is a simple and effective so far measure that raises the obvious question: why didn't local law enforcement do this last week?
Imagine, because the Minnesota State Patrol and the Minneapolis Police Department are abject, bootlicking, filleting cowards of Mayor Fry. I don't particularly care how it's pronounced, but you know who I'm talking about. That chief is appointed. That chief makes $250,000. Go peek and see. So now you know why in the bathroom, Mr. Chief's cheeks are full of, well, I wonder what that would be. Do you have any idea? Come on, I don't.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night Conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right. You can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back. I am back. I am here. I am BZ. I want to say thanks tonight again to KLRN, who's carrying my show live both nights, Tuesday and Thursday nights. Thanks to Rick Robinson for that at KLRN. Muy thankerinos. By the way, subscribe. Please subscribe. We've had a great explosion in subscribers. And of course, if you subscribe, you know, each SHR host gets certain things. But when you guys subscribe, I get more vodka. So thanks to all of you. Nothing like it. Drinking from your BZ's KC-135 Kettle One refueling team mug. There's absolutely nothing like it. Well, let's go back. And this is part and parcel of Happy Stories because I got a ton. I don't think it would surprise anyone to know that I'm probably not going to get through all my happy stories tonight, because look at all the tabs that are up there. That always happens to me, but my philosophy has always been show prep, always over prepare, be like Scotty, under promise and over deliver. I am always prepared. I learned this early, a long time ago. I'll tell you a story that amused me, shocked me first, then amused me, but only amused me after about, I don't know, a month. One of my first shows in 2017, let me take this off the screen just for a little bit. One of my first shows in 2017 was with a guy named Alan Thomas. Now, Alan Thomas is a Bigfoot Sasquatch paranormal researcher and investigator. And I met him in Sacramento at a SAC UFO Con convention. He was a great guy, and I kept contact with him through the years. And I said, Alan, would you like to be on one of my earlier shows? And he said, sure, you bet. We had everything set up. This was early on in 2017 when I first began. And then Alan was supposed to appear on the phone in the show, and he didn't appear, and I was gobsmacked. I didn't quite know what to do. I hadn't prepared adequately. I didn't have a ton of things ready to go. And so at the conclusion of the 2-hour show, I was a little pissed, to be honest. And I thought, wait, calm down, wait about a day, and then contact him. Namaste, cool, temper, monsieur. And so eventually, after about 2 days, I called him. I got in touch with him. It may have been text or an email, but in any event, I got in touch with him. And the first thing he said to me was, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. I'm thinking, I didn't say it. I'm thinking, well, you ought to be. You stood me up. And he says, yeah, I really apologize. I had a heart attack that day about an hour before, and I had to go to the hospital. So what that says is, okay, be careful. Let's not be so harsh with guests so quickly. But the lesson to be learned is prepare. And so now I'm prepared, and that's one of the reasons why I sometimes don't get through all of my shows. This is no shock to anybody. Here is Tulsi Gabbard. This is the DNI. She's the Director of National Intelligence. And then she began to expose what we've known throughout, we conservatives, logically thinking individuals, not emos, what we've known for years. Obama wasn't investigating Russia per se. Oh no, he was running a treasonous political operation to undermine Trump and protect that regime. And so Tulsi Gabbard, the DNI, current DNI, did a drop on CNN. And then all of a sudden she found, after about 45 seconds, she herself was dropped because you can't release this information. No one can let this get out.
Multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort.
Not in keeping with the narrative. So you cannot let the true narrative get out and escape. So that's why CNN As Per Normal decided that they were going to eliminate her. Just move her. Just cut her off. Because, hashtag why not? Here's Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, with 10 seconds of truth for the Euro trash. Scott, go.
And just to be clear, that we have Europe buying Russian oil still 4 years later.
By the way, this is at Davos, the World Economic Forum.
Financing the war against themselves. And
let's play it again in case you didn't quite grok it immediately. Go.
Just to be clear, that we have Europe buying Russian oil still 4 years later. They are financing the war against themselves.
Well, yes. That's how idiotic they themselves are. Here's another happy story. This happens to be from the New York Post. And people were saying, oh, no, this can't be true. Well, it's true, except the American media maggots are not going to be doing anything about this. They won't cover it. And now you know why. Representative Swalwell, the Comchink spy swiver, can't run for governor in California because there's a little bitty winky niggling bit that's getting in his way because he doesn't officially live there. There's a new court claim that says that. So Joel Gilbert said in a court complaint filed in Sacramento, for those of you who don't know, that's the capital of Califailure, that Swalwell is considered the likely successor to Newsom, actually lives in Washington, D.C., and is prohibited for running for governor under California law. A public record search revealed no current ownership or leasehold interest held by Eric Swalwell in Califailure, nor any history of any ownership or leasehold interest based on available public records. All of those things should be public record. Your house is a public record. Whether you lease something is a public record. Now, do you think Eric Swalwell is going to demean himself by living in some chintzy little winky apartment somewhere, a studio in Califailure, because he's trying to conserve money and conserve greenhouse gases? No, that's not what's occurring. So, dude doesn't even live in California. I'm guessing that as he runs for governor of Califailure, that might become what people term an issue. Here's this. This was great. Now I'm going to have to read actually a little bit of this article because it's a step. I guess you could call it maybe a baby step, but it is a step. And this is another reason that I have this available to me, because after I read the article, some heads are going to do that. So this is from Politico, not a moderate site, nor a right-leaning site. Congress clinches $1.2 trillion funding deal for DHS, Pentagon domestic agencies. And I'm going to show you why it is that leftists are going to pop the cork on this bad boy. There will be camshafts shat, car parts shat. They're going to be shitting kittens for just a while. Congressional leaders released a bill of a bipartisan compromise to fund the vast majority of the federal government ahead of the January 30th shutdown deadline. So everybody knows the CR is muy dead, muerto, as of January 30th. Not that terribly far from here. So House leaders plan to hold a vote later in the week on the legislation, which is going to boost defense spending, oh no, to more than $839 billion. It would also fund the departments of Health and Human Services, Labor, Housing, and Urban Development, Transportation, Education, and Homeland Security. Here's, I guess, what you'd call in term the part. The final compromise would keep ICE funded at $10 billion for the fiscal year that ends in September, while reducing the agency's budget for enforcement and removal efforts so ICE isn't gone. It would mandate that DHS uses $20 million to outfit immigration enforcement officers with body cameras, direct the department to give officers more training on diffusing conflict when interacting with the public, and provide $20 million for independent oversight of DHS detention facilities. But the good news is, and this is why I put it in the happy stories, as you well know, DHS, specifically ICE, not going anywhere at all. Here's another portion of the happy story. This is again from Breitbart. I try to use them whenever possible. Congress blocks dead people from getting Social Security, and they passed a bill that would stop payments from going to dead folks, said John Kennedy, who was pushing heavily for the bill. The Social Security Administration hadn't shared information about dead people, about the dead master file, with other branches in the government, and they need to so that they can clean up their files as well. But Democrats and leftists do not want those files cleared because they need to keep dead people and illegal invaders on the rolls. It's a power move, primordially. And we all know that. But that is a happy story. Here's another happy story. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you'll get the gist of it, especially if you recognize the name. So a dude named Brian Krasenstein was accused of raping two minor brothers. He was in his early 20s. Now, he's a massive leftist social media influencer. He anally penetrated me and my brother, aged 11 and 14, in a garage in Florida after luring us inside with promises of cash for helping to move stuff. Well, that's a happy story. Now, how long do we have to wait for this bitch to get sent away? Well, I don't know. We'll find out. Here's another happy story. I particularly enjoy this one. And that's this. The ad blocker, go away. Border Patrol commander says that he's going to continue the use of tear gas after a Minnesota federal judge's order. And Gregory Bovino says federal agents are going to continue deploying tear gas against violent agitators during Operation Metro Surge. And that's kind of like the high, fickle finger of fate to black-robed anarchist judges, which is what I said should have been done, particularly with when judges like Boasberg decided they were going to interfere and not recognize the supremacy clause. I don't know. That seems kind of weird to me, but that is a happy story, and that's why you come here to, let me remove this and go to more happy stories, because boy, does I has them. This is another one, a very happy story. This is Tom Homan. Now, isn't it weird? Tom Homan was awarded a medal for doing his job under Obama before leftists went all AFN, all fucking nuts. And the same Tom Homan here is saying that, you know what? We're going to create a database. And what will it be about? Let's listen for about a minute.
This job and these people who want to say follow ICE, and film ICE, you know what? You can protest. They have that right. But when you cross the line, and we've proven it, if you interfere or impede or assault an ICE officer, you will be prosecuted. And one thing I'm pushing for right now, Laura, we're going to create a database where those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they say they're taking time off work to protest. I bet you a lot of them are calling in sick. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know what they're doing. But we're going to make sure everybody knows who they are. We're going to broadcast. They want to broadcast the ICE officer that was nearly killed all over the internet. We're going to broadcast every one of these people we arrest.
Bingo. Because if it works for the Brady list, look that up in Califailure, then there's no reason that it shouldn't exist here, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, yeah. Baby and honey, that is a happy story. Here's another happy story. Here's an individual that says, you know what? I have a great idea. I think we should start charging politicians with crimes that vote for the sanctuary policies, which end up getting people killed. And people like this, who happens to be the kamikaze Karen, she had a failure of imagination in terms of thinking that I can do anything I wish and get away with it. And the answer is, no, you really can't. And the failure of imagination was, well, there won't be any consequences. There haven't been consequences. Why would there possibly be any consequences for me? So let's put this up. Florida's CFO just said what a whole bunch of us have been thinking and desiring. Go.
Commit a crime, let's say in Oregon, and they're an illegal immigrant, and sometimes these crimes are heinous. And in years past, under previous administrations, they would call ICE and ask them to deport, and they wouldn't, and they would eventually wind up and say, like, Washington State, Seattle, another sanctuary jurisdiction, only to find out that that same criminal illegal alien committed another crime there, and it was a sanctuary policy that attracted them there. The easiest way to get rid of sanctuary policies is maybe we should start charging the politicians with crimes that vote for the sanctuary policies and make them accessories to whatever crimes are committed by illegal immigrants in those jurisdictions, because to me, they're absolutely complicit in the crime, because it never should have happened in the first place.
And I will tell you this for certain, that this individual was emboldened by talk from Mayor Frey, or the police chief, or the Democrats, or anybody else in a leftist urban rat cage that loves their sanctuary policies. Her blood happens to be on their shoes. Their cast-off spatter is on their face, and they're stepped directly in the inch-thick blood running down the gutters in all those leftist urban rat cages. The other thing I might suggest is this. If you've decided that it's time to remove qualified immunity from police officers and law enforcement, then most definitely qualified immunity should be removed from politicians, and removed from mayors, and removed from judges. Let's just make that playing field equal, like leftists and Democrats tell us they demand, they desire equality through all. I'm all for that. One thing that you don't know, however, about DC politicians is they don't just have qualified immunity. It's called ultimate immunity. They are completely 110% immune from anything they do, say, or vote for, or vote against. You can't touch them. And maybe it's time to start touching a few of these people in a way that they probably hadn't wanted or desired. Here's another happy story. Probably can't read it, especially if you're in portrait mode, which still grates against me, but I'm going to continue to give it a shot and a try. Bill Melugin confirms to Fox News that 6 grand jury subpoenas were served in Minnesota today in relation to conspiring to impede federal law enforcement, including the offices of Governor Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, St. Paul Mayor and Ramsey and Hennepin counties. Imagine that. The question might be something similar to, is the worm beginning to turn? I'm offering it out that, yeah, maybe it is. Here's the article itself from townhall.com. And I put this up because this article was written by Amy Curtis. I had her on the show last Thursday night, a gracious and wonderful individual. She has penned this article from townhall.com, and the headline is, FBI serves subpoenas to offices of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, AG Keith Ellison, Mayor Jacob Frey. Hey, if that's not a happy story, I don't know what is. But of course, if you think that there are other happy stories, oh my gosh, yes, there are. Did you know, were you aware that immigration judges can be bribed and bought in immigration courts in Ohio? No, that can't possibly happen, can it? Again, another story by Amy Curtis. Bombshell. Okay, so let's go to, okay, I have disabled my ad blocker. Bombshell footage, stop it, claims judges can be bought with bribes in Ohio immigration courts. Now, you can't tell me that that's also not occurring with federal judges in terms of district courts as well. So Town Hall got footage indicating evidence saying that migrants from the West African nation of Mauritania are exploring the U.S. immigration and asylum system in Lockland, Ohio, and they're exploiting it, raising serious questions about the integrity and the oversight of the process. And so at the center of this operation is Patricia Golder, who, according to the footage, has turned the alleged manipulation of the asylum process into her business. It's a business. Well, you can read the article. It will be up in the Rumble side of the SHR Media Group on Rumble under BZ's Saloon. You can look at that at your veritable leisure. Here's also, I'm going to play this. Do I have enough time? I have 3 minutes. Let me set something up right here. I may have enough time to play this. This is from one of my favorite dudes, Scott Jennings. And so Scott Jennings, yeah, here we go. Let's play this.
I recognize you haven't reviewed all the material anymore. But the percentage. Who are you to tell me what I can and can't? I've never met you, brother. Listen, I can say whatever I want. They're illegal aliens, and that's what the law calls them. Illegal aliens. That's what I'm going to call them. Right.
Listen, you can't say illegals anymore because ICE is directly targeting legal citizens of this country. And how
are you going to enforce your edict on me? Just out of curiosity.
Listen, I understand.
But just listen to his point about illegal.
No, I want to know why he gets to instruct
You're
my
changing the topic.
I want to know.
No, he's not changing the topic. That's the point. The point is, okay, if you don't like something, if something that you deem bad, is no onus on me to make sure that I am in compliance whatsoever. That shit ship has sailed, and it's not coming back. And all this virtue signaling crap, number one, you can't touch me because I'm way retired. You have nothing to hold over my head except your own stupidity and your own critically insane leftist policies about words. Okay? I don't give a shit about words. I don't give a shit about your policies. I've been shot at by professionals. I've been insulted by professionals. Any of you leftists are no fucking professional.
Making a point, making an
About
emotional
people being
plea.
arrested. Go
I
ahead.
understand that your job is predicated on just getting increasingly more demented every single week, and that the audience comes back to see if perhaps
Make your point.
My point is that you're saying the word illegals, but
it's in
you
federal
don't
law.
even really know what's happening. Or actually,
It's a word. You said a word, and I'm going to start crying. Okay, what is one of the most fundamental things that I learned as a cop? And that's this. You can cry your crocodile tears, but nothing is true unless tears and snot are involved.
Right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passionate.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleash 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleash 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleash101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleash 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional. But it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. I'm BZ. It's the final half hour of the show. Can I tell you something truthful? And that's this. I've been having the time of my life. Why do I have the time of my life? Because it's my show. And I get to say what I want. And I get to bring it to you. And then I report. You decide. Or shit to that effect, Senator. Something like that. I'm not quite sure exactly how that goes. But the dealio is that now we're going to transmogrify over to an area that, if I can find it, I call, oh, damn it, Jim, where is it? Well, let's just play it, okay? Let's play it, and I'll figure out how to get there, and that's this.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
We're standing by
My fellow Americans,
for news. This is essentially the rest of the show. Won't get to all the stuff that I need to get to, but I'll get enough in, like this. And then, Paul, would you please weigh in? I'm asking you kindly. Paul, what do you say?
Stand by for news.
And we're in the news segment right now. Now, the UK has decided that they want to go all in on digital ID. And the UK is comprised mostly of cowardly cretins who have little, if any, idea how to push back against their oppressive department. They're nothing but proles. They're nothing but groundlings until they start to push back. And what they're discovering is this. They're all over the streets to protest digital ID, because anything that's digital and can be turned on can be turned off by government. And then that's precisely, if you were not in accordance with the UK's great governmental plans, then you'll be removed. You'll be throttled. How do I know that? Because that's already occurred in Canada under Trudeau. Remember the truckers that were protesting? And then Trudeau had the Canadian government go into the bank accounts of numerous truckers and simply stop their accounts. You can't access your money. So if it's digital ID, then sooner or later, mostly sooner, it's going to be CBDB, central bank digital currency. And then that's when your currency and your media and your life can be absolutely throttled and stopped. You won't be able to eat. You won't be able to get a loan. You won't be able to get into your account. You won't be able to support your kids if your philosophy is not completely in congruence with the UK government, or any government for that matter that demands that its citizens rely on digital ID or CBDC. And in your heart, you know I'm right. What I've said for quite some time, I'll say again too, for some of the people that may be new here. If I had a time machine, because I have a cybersecurity dude that comes on the show quite frequently, Mike Fitzpatrick of NCX Group. And what he has said always, because this is common sense, anything that is digital can and will be hacked, period, end of statement. It's just a matter of time, sooner rather than later. So as I've said, and Mike doesn't appreciate this, I do. I kind of like it. If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time and kill Admiral Grace Hopper, who was the inventor of the language COBOL, COBOL. And from that, it led to the digital age, ones and zeros, open and closed. Here's another story that I want to bring to you. We were talking about, oddly enough, see the linkage here when BZ talks about Canada, and now he's talking about Canadians and truckers, and now he's talking about Albertans in Canada under Carney. Mark Carney, what a goober. Alberta, I subscribed. I followed Alberta separation. This is a happy story because it happens to be true. Without Alberta, Canada is a turd world nation. You would think that they wouldn't be so disrespectful in Ottawa. Let's embiggen this, shall we? And that's this. Alberta's net contribution to Ottawa is more than 244 billion Canadian dollars from 2007 to 2022. And it absolutely dwarfs contributions from any other province. Albertans, they're beating you like a bad whore. And that's why a lot of Albertans are saying similar things to, you know what? I think perhaps it may possibly be time to secede because we're not massively leftist like that far frog area over in the far east portion of Canada is. Here's another story that I found amusing. I like Carolyn Levitt. I like her a lot. And one of the reasons, she kind of reminds me of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who wouldn't brook crap from any leftist. And that's why I could have placed it into happy stories, perhaps. Maybe I should have. But I waited until now. And this is where she delivers a 1 minute and 30-second spanking to some kind of a leftist piece of crap journalist.
Spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 U.S. citizens were detained.
People die in custody in law enforcement agencies all over the planet, in good countries and bad countries. Know why? It's because people die. And occasionally law enforcement makes mistakes. Won't deny that, but people die in custody. It's like, oh, this is massively unique. ICE kills people. Bullshit. And I'm looking at her face and she's thinking, I wonder how many knives would fit in your right lapel.
By ICE. And Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Here we go, kids. HIBBYGO, go.
Are you asking me my opinion?
Yeah.
Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist. And it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias.
Oh, the umbrage comes out now. The umbrage comes out. It turns out that he was wearing his vest and the knives wouldn't stick.
Yes. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country.
See, wherever this guy is from, he's not used to being spoken to like that. And you can see the look on his face. He is looking daggers in return, right back at her as well. No one speaks to an American media maggot like him. He may not even be an American media maggot. He may be a Eurotrash maggot. I'm not sure. I don't know. He's got an accent. So likely, I don't know, perhaps Eurotrash, perhaps not.
And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Upbraiding. And then for those of you who just tuned in, an upbraiding, uppercut, dish, 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 dish. This is, again, a continuing series of revelations about why I love the hell out of doing this show. Because I bring you crap. Okay, sorry. Just like all the rest of the SHR dudes and dudettes do at the SHR Media Group, the SHR Media Network. Oh, by the way, okay. Let me do this. I'm going to refer to an article here. I think I'm going to be able to get to it. Let me see if, oh, damn it, Jim, I can't go that way. Okay. One of the things that I want to show to you is if you want to see a lot of great articles, go to shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com. Because the website is linked up to all of our shows. And I will probably be getting to this, but I just wanted to point out to you, shrmedia.com. You know, it's like, I love that stuff. I love the upbraiding by certain individuals. Here's another story. And with luck, I can piss off a lot of the individuals who happen to be loving tranny supporters. Because if you love trannies, then you're a mental genetic mutant yourself. But here's a good story. Here's a story ripped from today's screaming headlines, and that's it. 2 Wisconsin hospitals. Yeah, you know what? In retrospect, I probably should have installed this under happy stories because it really is a happy story. 2 Wisconsin hospitals halt gender-affirming care for minors, and the debate reignites. The debate about what? What debate is there? I'm not sure what debate there is. Well, the only debate to be had is by Democrats, leftists, socialists, Democrat socialists, leftists all in medicine, leftists all in science, who say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the mental, chemical, and physical butchery of children. Now, the standard Mark 1 Model 1 rejoinder is, well, I want a peg leg. So you should saw off your kid's peg leg so he can be a great pirate on Halloween. Why not just gouge out his eye with a spoon? Because that would make him more pirate-like. Arr, matey, wouldn't it? It certainly would. And everyone knows you have to obey your children if you're a leftist or a Democrat. So 2 Wisconsin health systems are going to stop offering certain transgender medical treatments to patients 17 and younger. Now, see, when you're attempting to control speech, which I must admit, leftists, to which they excel, then gender affirming care equates to, as I said, the mental, chemical, and physical butchery of children. That is a gender affirming care because they want it, right? Because kids are so smart at 3. There have been leftist, crazy, insane leftist white chicks like this who have said, I know my infant, my baby, my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old is a tranny. I got a boy. I didn't want a boy. I wanted a girl. So I'm going to make that boy into a girl who will love me because I am a sociopathic narcissist. Or words to that effect, Senator. So, yeah, I guess I could have made a happy story out of it because as far as I'm concerned, that is a happy story. Here's another happy story. Because on account of because why? A Flea and a Fly and a Flew by Bennett Cerf. God, now I don't remember. I was going to impress everybody with my remembrance of a poem by Bennett Cerf. Damn it, Jim. Trump, however, in terms of news, has suspended visa processing from a bunch of countries. And so this has been done indefinitely because people, actual citizens, actual Americans in the United States of America, are tired of being fleeced and fucked over and cornholed and bent over and told to grab their ankles while other individuals' penises haven't been lubed, but they've been draped with sand. And then we've been told to enjoy it and yell at the top of our voice, thank you, sir, may I have another? And we're done. We're tired. We're done with it. So people from 75 countries, it's one of the most expansive efforts to restrict legal pathways to the United States because we're done. And the criteria is target applicant deemed likely to become a public charge. That is to say, people that they think are going to rely on government benefits for basic needs. Our job here in the United States of America is to take care of Americans first. America first. The rest of the nation can take care of itself. When we're fine, when we're all settled and hunky-dory, then perhaps we can think about helping others. We brought back the entire planet from World War II because of the Marshall Plan. We brought back our enemies. And those days, those abilities have gone and flown, and I hope they are never to return. And so if you're coming here to be a parasite, to be a refugee and game the system like the Chinese, oh, next Thursday night, I'm going to have a story for you about the lovely Chinese. China is our enemy, if you haven't realized that already. The only people not realizing that are the stupid amongst you, who are legion, by the way. And so here's the list. You can go to the Rumble channel, SHR Media Rumble channel, BZ's Saloon, and look at this entire list. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, wait, France isn't on it. Yeah, they can take care of themselves. Oh, look, Finland isn't on it. Yeah, they can take care of themselves. Oh, the Netherlands aren't on it. Denmark, Norway, they're not on it. Yeah, they can take care of themselves. And they're not beating the door to get here because they have their own country to take care of. And they're a Western civilization, and they are not generally barbaric third world fucks. And we are done, you see. People, we are done with this crap. I am done, and I am not alone. There are many, many others. This is my rifle. It is mine. It only belongs to me. Let me point this out. I actually got here. I'm kind of surprised. Oh, that's a pleasant sort of thing. Gives me a little tingle in my nipples. The Supreme Court came out with 3 opinions today. Expected was the ruling on tariffs, but that didn't occur. So this story also will be on the Rumble side. There were a bunch of cases, 3 that were released today. Burke versus Choi, Ellenberg versus U.S., Coney Island Auto Parts versus Burton. But as was pointed out here, the tariffs case was undecided. And that was Learning Resources, Inc. versus Trump, with Trump versus VOS selections. And here's why. So people are wondering, okay, we know it's on the docket. We know it's going to be released shortly. They have not set a public date for the release of that opinion. And folks are saying, as is indicated on the story right over here at shrmedia.com. So a ruling against the administration could trigger major refund and repayment questions for people who were importers. But here's why I don't think it was released yet. If the decision/opinion went against Trump, I don't believe that they would have any hesitation about releasing it. Because what would happen is that in the world of leftists and Democrats, joy would be heard ringing all throughout the boneyard land. And there might be, huzzah, huzzah, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. But I believe the reason that they haven't released it is because they know that there are many leftists who are already out there mobilized and ready to picket the Supreme Court building and truly screw with SCOTUS as much as humanly possible. So I think SCOTUS is afraid. I think that is an indicator that SCOTUS has decided, because the opinion has not been released, they have decided for Trump. And they are fully cognizant of the fact that, okay, if this gets out there, then there's going to be a hue and cry, because leftists who are unemployed, or ancient people, or leftist bints like this are all ready to go. They're paid per line item, basically, as we discovered. They're ready to go. And they're ready to turn all sorts of leftist urban rat cages, lurks, into flames at a moment's notice. The cool thing is that it's always the leftist urban rat cages who are set on fire. And, to be honest, I have to say, that really is a good thing. That's really a cool thing. Because why shouldn't Mayor Fry have Minneapolis burnt like toast, like bad toast, to the ground all over again? When the ruling comes out, the ruling will come out from SCOTUS. So, it's the standard BZ Mark I Model 1 if-then equation. If it goes against Trump and his tariffs, then why not release it now? There would be joy everywhere. Everyone's, screw you, Trump. We got you again, mother. So, can anybody here think of any reason other than that why it wasn't released? I can't say that. I was trying to think about this earlier in the day. What other reasons could there be? Oh, our docket is just jam-packed. No. Well, we're revisiting it. No. The opinions have already been written. So if the tariffs opinion goes against Trump, why haven't we seen it now? Wouldn't it seem to be that they'd want to get this off their docket and off their desks as soon as humanly possible? So again, I say I'm pretty sure that SCOTUS is delaying because leftist protesters have mobilized. They're out there. They're out en masse, and they could turn on the court building in just a few hours, and they would be fully funded, would they not? Of course they were. Well, all I have to say is, guess what? It's that tippy toe time again. And that's why I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. Portrayed wondrously in a grandiose way on KLRN, courtesy of Rick Robinson. And I also want to say something similar to, hey, look, promotional consideration by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and also by Electro Voice and Shure microphones, Arrakis boards, the one I use, and also by Pratt & Whitney engines, dependable engines that are themselves creating thrust you can trust. Tiaras are paranormal by My Little Pony. Isn't it colorful? And so I also want to say thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. And I want to thank each and every one of you. It's been a grimace putting this in portrait mode. It grated against my nerves, I'm telling you. Everybody, I'll see you Tuesday night. God bless, take care, and be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Dad. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
But wait, don't go away just yet. Did you guys see my Heisler beer shirt? This is a reference to, well, I don't know, television and movies? I'll leave you to find out and suss that out. By the way, before I leave, I want to tell everybody this. SHR has a show for you every day of the week. And we can, let me do this. Let me start first with Jersey Joe, who is the reaver of common sense. And you can see him on Monday and Friday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. Eastern. And so Monday and Friday nights, you already saw a show on Monday. Joe kicked butt on Monday, but that's Monday and Friday. Well, what about Tuesday? We've got a show for you on Tuesday as well. Big E Jackson, Big Earl, Big E Jackson, on the Mission Ready Men briefing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, his show is in the morning. It begins on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, just like it says down here, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. Now, one thing that I also want to tell you about this is Earl kicked ever-loving ass this Tuesday morning. Earl's show got 3,800 views, which are the greatest amount of views SHR has ever recorded yet. But the good news is also to continue. I want to remind everybody that we talked about Jersey Joe. We talked about Earl. So let's talk about Mondays and Wednesdays. Sean went up Monday, and his show is at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern, just like mine. But his show on Monday also kicked major butt. Over 1,800 views just for his show. And he will be back. Sackhead Sean of the Edge of Liberty will be back tomorrow night, Wednesday night, at these times that you see right there. 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday night, again, it's Jersey Joe, the Reaver of Common Sense. Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. So I just want to remind everybody of our great SHR Media shows. And thanks, my personal thanks, once again, to the collaborative effort with KLRN running my show live. Massively and greatly appreciated. So to everyone here tonight, I say truly, thank you with all my little clotted heart for watching, listening, and being in chat. Everybody, God bless. Take care. Be safe.